A very good morning to everyone present here today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for allocating your time for this forum. During these pandemic times, I hope all of you all are in the pink of. Our topic for today is depression among youngsters. According to the World Health Organization, depression is a disorder in which constant sadness is present. The victim tends to lose interest in their daily life. Until today, 264 million people suffer from depression worldwide, and in Malaysia alone, 2.3 million people suffer from depression. Some of the signs and symptoms of depression are constant sadness, self-loathing, and difficulties in concentrating. However, everyone expresses depression differently. I am Sangeeta and I am the moderator for today. We have four panels for today's topic. Introducing to you Tiew Chian Wei, Jeremiah, Varsha, and Boon Yourt. Firstly, Tiew Chian Wei will be discussing about the factors that causes depression among adolescents.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you to the moderator. There are a multitude of reasons that might contribute to factors of depression among the youngsters. So, in my opinion, the main reason will be the ever increasing rate of the cyberbullying. So, for your information, cyberbullying, which is another form of negative peer pressure, it has a great influence on youngsters in terms of their thinking, action, and their decision making. So with a great internet connection nowadays, it's allowed the world to communicate with each other easily. So during the MCO last few months ago, there was more than a 30% spike in internet usage, means that people always spend their time in internet or social media. So when people spend more time in social media, plus the lack of this awareness issue, it actually can increase the exposure to cyberbullying. Yeah.
Interesting input on cyberbullying, Chian Wei. It is noted about 38% of Malaysians suffer from mental health issues as a result of cyberbullying. What are the forms of cyberbullying that affects youngsters these days, Chian Wei?
Okay, thank you to the moderator. So cyberbullying, it can come in form of abusive comment, name calling, sexual bullying, body shaming through the pictures or video, deliberate fall of information and rumors. So these actually can increase the depression and anxiety among the youngsters. So if we compare to the old traditional bullies, cyberbullying is actually more dangerous because the bullies, they don't really have to confront the victim in person. They always hide behind of the wall of anonymity. It means that they always use the fake account, fake username to cyberbully other people. All they need to do is just sit in front of their device and they can already cyberbully other people. So it's actually kind of hard to track them because they often hide behind of the wall of anonymity. And moreover, mental illness also play a main role in this case. So people with mental illness, they often experience distress functioning at work, at home, or even at public. So mental illness is not something that we can overcome with willpower, and it also can be caused by the biological factors as well. So moderator, little do you know that one coping skill that people with depression utilize is masking, means that they always hide behind, means that they always hide behind of their smile to convince other people that they are happy even though they are not. So there's a negative connotation saying that people with depression always appear to be sad all the time. This actually needs to be stopped because they are not being sad all the time. They're having a mental health issue. So it is common for people with depression to feel anxious and they will feel anxious about things, as depression can make it difficult for them to cope with a stressful situation. So if I'm not mistaken, the prevalent rate of anxiety and depression among the Malaysian is ranged between 1% to 67%.
Well said, Chen. If so, what does anxiety actually feels like? Can you explain the term anxiety in detail, Mr. Chen?
Okay. So in order to put things into perspective, what anxiety or depression actually feels like is like having a little voice in your head that make you doubt and second guess every single thing that you do, or being in the safe environment but feeling on edge. And anxiety also can lead someone I mean, like anxiety also can lead someone not to trust themselves or even their surrounding, and they will keep overthinking every single thing in terms of the past, recent conversation, or something future. Besides, anxiety can be described as one brain had been tied up, and the emotional side will take over their body and will run, destroying everything. So, do you have any other thought on this matter, Varsha?
Thank you, Chian Wei. Unemployment and work pressure problems also cause depression among youngsters. Based on a statistic is showing about the rising in cases of people who commit suicide due to depression, which caused by unemployment and work pressure from March 2020 to July 2020 during the MCO period in Malaysia. The people who suddenly lost their job will feel powerless over the direction of their life and anxious about what the future holds. Therefore, it causes depression among them. The standard of living of the individual or household will be declined because they lost their source of income that results from unemployment. So they will always worry about the expenses of living, and it leads to stress, then causes depression. In addition, they lost social contacts with people due to unemployment. This will cause loss of engagement, shrinking of social networks. Thus, people will easily get the risk of depression because they cannot communicate and unable to express their feelings to work colleagues. Next, the people with higher work pressure in their job will have the risk of getting depression when they are unable to cope with the work pressure. This is because when they have higher load of work or pressure, they have rising in expectation but no increase in job satisfaction. This will cause them to have stress, then leads to depression. Thank you.
Yes, Varsha, very informative. Thank you. I do agree with your opinion that unemployment and work pressure problems causes the rate of depression among youngsters to increase drastically. On the other hand, what is your opinion regarding relationship problems with depression, Varsha?
Thank you. Recent survey shows 84% of teenagers suffer from depression because of relationship problems. First and foremost, if teenagers have parents that used to quarrel a lot in home, that can lead to depression. In many homes, divorce is discussed out loud by cursing, screaming, throwing things, slamming door, or an unspoken event of a parent not returning home or sleeping in another bedroom. Moreover, breakups can also cause depression among teenagers. They won't be able to take rejection from their most loved one. They think that no one can replace them, but that's not true. Relationship involves big investments of attention, feelings, times, and money. And losing our partner can make us feel as though everything we put in a relationship is wasted. Statistics shows 75% of teenagers suffer from depression because of breakup. Furthermore, losing a friend can also cause depression. They are the person that make the good times better and hard times easier to live with. Many teenagers would only find a friend to tell all their problems and secrets. They're the person we think of as human diaries. When they're really good friends, they're the person we trust the most. And losing a friend can make us feel like losing a part of ourselves. Thank you.
Um, Thank you for the idea on factors that contributes to depression. Firstly, Chian Wei has discussed on cyberbullying. I strongly believe that the digital platform has a great impact in our life, but it can also be a form of abuse that takes place in a virtual space. As a result, the parents have problem tracking down the bullies. Secondly, Varsha also said that unemployment and work pressure contributes to depression. Um, the suicide rate has increased tremendously during the MCO period. And lastly, relationship problems is one of the major problems that causes depression these days. And this is actually very, very heartbreaking. Jeremiah, can you discuss the impact of this depression on these patients?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you to the moderator. Imagine hearing phrases like, loser, you're so ugly, just go kill yourself. Every word has consequences, be it emotionally or psychologically. The victims of cyberbullying often find it difficult to feel safe. You feel vulnerable and powerless. Cyberbullies do not understand the level of pain they are inflicting to someone and continue to do hurtful things to them. This usually leads to depression and anxiety. This is because cyberbullying does not end when you turn off the computer or block incoming text messages. The bullying happens all around, leading to the victim's self-esteem being eroded. Then, the victims tend to constantly worry about what is being posted of them, and spend endless hours checking their social media platforms while feeling tormented and dissatisfied with who they are. Thus, the victims begin to doubt their worth and value, which in turn respond to these feelings by harming themselves or even have suicidal ideation when they feel that is the only way to escape the pain. In 2018, a 21-year-old Myanmar woman attempted to commit suicide by downing various pills simultaneously at her rented room in Jalan Permaisuri. The woman was called a cheap person with no morality by an unknown user via the internet. Therefore, it is vital to reach out to the victims of cyberbullying as they rather force themselves to stay quiet or not be vocal about their opinions.
I do agree with your opinion, Jeremiah. Words tend to be sharper than knives. On the other hand, what are the impacts to those who suffer from depression due to unemployment and work pressure? Jeremiah?
In my opinion, unemployment and work pressure can play a role in causing depression or be a symptom of it. It usually leads to both poor physical and mental health. This happens when people lose their job, they will isolate themselves from others and would rather be alone. Be alone. People with depression find that they no longer gain the enjoyment when they interact with others as they feel like they would be a bad companion due to the lack of emotional energy. Besides, their physical communication may worsen once they lose contact with others. Unemployment is also deemed as a sign of failure in some contexts, especially for the Asian counterparts, resulting in poor mental health and causes the self-esteem to drop because of the shame and embarrassment. And work pressure is also one of the main cruxes of problems regarding depression. Their optimism may decline gradually as they feel tense with the immense workload, and higher workload often leads to fear, worry, and anxiety when they are unable to complete the work given. Therefore, if you are feeling overwhelmed by stress, it is okay to take a break. Mental health always comes first. How about you, Boon? Do you have any other thoughts to share?
Yes, Jeremiah. In my view, relationship problems are one of the significant factors which will lead to the depression and bring the impacts to them. This is because depression will lead to the difficulty in dealing with the emotion thoughts or emotions, negative emotion or negative thoughts in the relationship problems among the younger. For example, the teenagers who have the depression, they will tend to think more in negative thoughts until they get the PTSD, which is the post-traumatic stress disorder when their parents are getting divorced. This is because they might experience persistent or recurrent memories of their parents living from them, or they will feel of loss of one of their parents. Moreover, depression will also lead the individual to become less concentrated or motivated on doing anything when they break up with their partner. This is due to they may feel guilty because uh, they may think that they are the person who makes the life of those around them become worse. Lastly, the individual who have the depression due to loss of the friend will always feel helplessness and also loneliness. At the same time, their self-worth will become very low. Thank you.
Great idea, Boon. Many teenagers suffer from PTSD because of parents divorcing. What are the other impacts of depression due to mental health, Boon? Is there any
Okay.
other?
Yeah, thank you for your question, Sangeeta. When the teenagers are unable to cope with the mental health issue, then this will lead to the depression and bring the impacts to them. For individuals who have the depression due to mental health issue, this will lead to the severe anxiety and also eating disorder. For example, students nowadays unable to cope with the stress during the online class because of the heavy workload in the period of the movement control or the MCO. Okay, they might have the thinking to commit suicide. This is because when they have the depression, they are unable to think positively, so they cannot differentiate whether the action is correct or wrong. In addition, they will not share or express their feelings, sadness to others, and they will keep them in their hearts. When the increasing in level of sadness or issue in their heart until reaching a maximum level and they are unable to cope with them, then it will lead them to commit suicide. Thank you.
Well said, dear panels. Firstly, Jeremiah was talking about cyberbullying. As he said, self-confidence and self-esteem are at stake because of the harsh comments on social media platforms. On the other hand, he also discussed on unemployment. It affects both physical and mental health of a certain person. They tend to isolate themselves because they think that they are a failure. And well said, Boon, as well. Teenagers also experience severe anxiety and eating disorder due to these factors. I totally agree that depression has a tendency to kill someone if it's not treated properly or if we do not seek for help. A victim should definitely seek for medication or even opening up to a person. When it comes to self healing, how can a victim spiritually heal themselves?
Oh, okay, I'll start first. So in Buddhism, offering merit is offering merit is a good practice to cope with the depression. So food offering is one of the most common ritual in Theravada countries like Malaysia and Thailand. So the offering can be given to the monk during the alms round and also can ritually given to the hungry ghost. So offering food is a miraculous act that always reminds us not to be greedy or selfish. And we also can make the offering to the three jewel as well. So it will recall the enlightenment qualities, the generous cultivation, attitude, and delight in giving. So due to the change in our mind that occur when we offer, we actually will create positive potential, or we call as good karma, which become the, the cause of happiness in our future. So we can offer anything that we consider beautiful on the altar. And traditionally, people always, or they always offer flowers, incense, food, and light. So by practicing this, our mind will feel the positive potential and inner peace. So I think it somehow can reduce the depression faced by the young generation. So do you have any other thought, Boon?
Yes, Chian Wei. My recommendation is about the religious Islam. Religious Islam is one of the religions which will provide the support and encouragement for people to overcome the depression, to prevent them from falling into despair or suicide. This is because religious Islam has the positive religious coping with the internalized spiritual, which provide the strategy that promote hope and resilience for people to overcome the depression. So this enables them to continue to progress in their life. The Holy Quran book is the guardian for the Muslim, so Muslim can always keep connection with their God to deal with their sadness or worry. Therefore, they will become the more positive person and they will not easily get rid of the depression. Based on a study with the 64 Muslim patients in Pakistan, reported a reduction in depression when they always attend to the mosque or the religious activity. The religious activity, which include the private prayer, the collective worship that contribute to well-being and can decrease the isolation of individuals. This religious activity, they will have more interaction and can express the feeling with the others. Okay, then this will lead to the decrease in the risk of the depression efficiently. Okay, thank you. So how about you, Varsha? Do you have any idea?
Thank you, Boon. In Hinduism, one way to overcome depression is by practicing yoga asana. There are a few poses that a youngster can practice in their daily routine. First and foremost is the Uttanasana or sitting forward bend pose. The Uttanasana improves oxygen-rich blood flow to the brain as the head is positioned below this pose. Regular practice of Uttanasana relieves anxiety and stress and helps calm the mind. The next pose is Viparita Karthi or the legs up the wall pose. It is simple but effective anxiety alleviating yoga that helps relax and calms the mind and helps to stimulate the nervous system. Viparita Karthi also regulates blood flow, treats depression and insomnia. Last but not least is the Savasana or corpse pose. This pose is used at the end of yoga routines and is excellent for meditation, boosting mental health, and relaxing the body. Thank you. What about you, Jern?
Thank you, Varsha. In Christianity, an active religious life might help people, especially the younger generations, to cope with depression. It is believed that God, or commonly known as Jesus, is often sought as a figure of hope and healing, or in other words, a therapist. Besides, a prayer is a communication and conversation with God. An individual can follow the way of Jesus by making one's prayers to God so that they might not feel alone in this world, as their prayers are perceived as a psychotherapy. A network of support, a supportive relationship is also beneficial for the prevention and treatment of depression. And people who participated in both religious group and highly valued their religious faith are at a substantially reduced risk of depressive orders. And this could potentially also give a sense of hope to people suffering from depression. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you for the inputs, dear panel. I am indeed impressed on the spiritual healing path of each religion. Well, firstly, Chian said in Buddhism, offering merit causes happiness and peacefulness. Secondly, Boon discussed about Islam. The Muslims can keep connection with God and recite prayers when they feel worried or troubled. Thirdly, in Hinduism, Varsha discussed that practicing yoga asana helps improve blood pressure, relaxes the muscle, and boosts mental health. And finally, Jeremiah discussed on Christianity. A person can combat depression by praying to God. Once again, I would like to thank the panels for your informative input. Risk of depressions lead to suicide. We have already discussed on the negative impacts of depression if it's not treated. It is important for us to hold no judgment against those seeking for help. These victims are advised to open up and seek medical help. When it comes to self-healing, there are various ways to do it religiously. Last but not least, we have to plant the idea that seeking help when dealing with mental health problem is crucial. And I hope today's forum was informative and beneficial. Thank you all for participating in this great discussion. Thank you.
Okey, dah habis Okey, dia nak tanyalah sikit. Setiap orang. Okey, setiap orang. Warsha, you punya ni terlalu laju lah you bercakap. Kan, susah nak dapat point you.
Semua ke?
Terlalu laju. You terlalu laju bercakap. Then, so for the next untuk you improve yourself pada presentation, jangan terlalu laju because lecture tu akan susah nak dapat tangkap you sebab dia point you. Okay, you punya ada nak tanya tentang about the you cakap about the research sources tu daripada mana? For the statistic
Dari webpage
statistik yang you ambil tu daripada mana?
Dari webpage tu
Web page. Okay, tak dapat sumber yang sahih so tak boleh referring tu must be pada non pada resources, example macam Kementerian Kesihatan ke kementerian apa ke, and must be in the kalau kita lihat Malaysia lah kalau boleh ambil kan tentang Malaysia. Okay, so Boon okay,
Yes,
Ada nak tanya but you kata it's about the online class. You kata kena think positively. Macam mana nak buat for the think positively for the online class?
Online class, okay. During the online class, we always have the more stress due to the heavy workload, and we need to like distribute the tasks and manage the time management so that we can finish our task on time, and also like when we feel very stressed or something like anxiety or the other bad feeling, we can try to like relax by doing exercise, or like for me I always like play game with my cousin to release stress when I feel stressed, and also I will watch anime or anime or something
Anime.
to release
Anime
anime. Sorry. Yeah, that's all from me on my opinion. Thank you, madam.
Okay. So you punya je dua orang lagi ni kita tanya apa? Okay, apa Chian Wei. Boleh you explain lebih detail apa yang you cakap pasal about the alms rounds tu? Food offering during the alms round. You punya draft ni, Madam pening tengok macam apa you cakap kat mana point you mana macam tu. Nak kena
So macam Australia ni dia macam like how to say like macam contoh lah saya bagi contoh New Year kan, like New Year nak masuk tahun baru 2021 kan. So basically kita Buddhism kita akan, this one is for Theravada punya lah, Theravada punya fahaman.
Oh, Theravada. Dia berbeza dengan Mahayana kan? Okay.
Yes. So ni yang Theravada punya. So kita akan pergi ke temple. So semua orang akan berkumpul dekat temple. So we will perform prayer. So after prayer tu kita akan offer food to the monk lah. Usually we will offer the rice, sugar and then flour. Yes.
Oh.
So
What
kita
flower?
offer
What kind of flower? Jenis flower apa? Bunga apa?
yang tu medal yang warna kuning tu. I don't know what the name lah. Yang warna
Oh.
kuning.
Chrysanthemum.
No, not that one. Yeah, I forgot the name.
Kuning tu banyak bunga loceng ada bunga.
Medal. Tu yang atas air. What they call that? Lily.
Teratai.
Yes, medal. Tu salah
Teratai.
satu contoh.
Apa ni? Okay, Jeremiah. You bagi tahu about the Christianity, about the prayers. What the others activity yang boleh buat juga for the overcome for the depression.
Usually during prayer session, the church activity will hold a singing session with a group. Then when you sing, it elevates your mood. You feel more free within your surrounding. You get to interact with others, not be trapped up with yourself. Then also in Christianity, they will have a youth camp among youngsters, and these youngsters can share their opinions and their youth life, and share also what is ideal as a Christian life like that.
Okay. Good point. Okay, thank you. Itu saja. Okay, lain kali untuk ni juga you kena give the example specific example. Example ni you ada tuliskan kat sini specific example for the 23 Disember disabled Malaysian man Muhammad Sani was arrested by authority for attempting to hang himself at his house. Maksudnya macam tu lah, lebih lagi, banyakkan lagi tentang contoh-contoh yang menyebabkan yang you kata is about the depression cases. Apa contoh-contoh depression cases yang dilaporkan dalam akhbar yang boleh didedahkan lah. Not yang ambil daripada yang tak boleh didedahkan. Okay? Okay, itu saja